We have you here on an interesting morning because we don't often talk about China on this show. We don't often talk about Taiwan, a center of your expertise, of course.
Former
ambassador to China for the United States. This phone call that Donald Trump received from the president of Taiwan has sparked outrage over the night that we're undoing 30 years, 40 years of diplomatic relations with China. What is your take on this phone call that he received?
Well, can I just say that having lived in Taiwan twice and having lived in China once, there's a little too much hyperventilating about this one. So you've got a fairly recently elected president, Tsai Ing-wen, in Taiwan. She represents the Democratic Progressive Party. Second time for that party to be in power. She puts in a call to the president-elect, a fairly unconventional president-elect. He's going to do things differently. That's only to be expected. He takes the call, which shouldn't surprise anybody, and they have a conversation. I think that's, then you look at the response out of Beijing, out of the foreign ministry, and I'm pretty much an expert at responses out of the foreign ministry because I used to get dragged in as ambassador when things would go wrong. And they're not making it too big a deal, but the issue should be this. Does Taiwan deserve a little more space? We share values. They have a big economy. We trade. They have a civil society that is large and robust and mature. And we ought to be giving them a little more space. And if that kind of comes out of this whole discussion, that people recognize that Taiwan may be a little different than they thought, then maybe that should kind of create a template for the way that the new Trump administration sees the region. But let's remember this, finally, the last time a member of Tsai Ing-wen's party, the DPP, was in power, a guy named Chen Shui-bian, back in the 80s, things got so hot that we ended up sending in 2 carrier battle groups, and it was a very dangerous moment. So whatever you do has to be in the context of a one-China policy, but you can find some flexibility there, and we ought to do that.
And we've only got a minute left. I want to ask, I could ask for 10 minutes more about that and your future in politics, whether you want to do more, or we can get another story about Abby.
No, I want to.
Whatever you want.
Stories go on and on.
How about her future in politics?